joining us on this Veterans Day, taking some time out to learn about your future. My name is Samantha Person. I'm the owner and operator of RNS Financial Services. And this is an orientation about how to become a professional tax preparer online. So a lot of, in the past, being a tax preparer, you had to go into the office, H&R Block, Hewlett Packard, Liberty, RNS Financial. Today, with technology, we're moving to the next level of having remote tax preparers. So some people are familiar with remote, some people are familiar with a virtual, most people are definitely familiar with working from home. So now that we have the software and the technology, and as well as the knowledge to share with you guys that how you could be a professional tax preparer online. We're going to go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or you can email them rnsfinancial67@gmail.com. We'll answer your questions as we're going through. This webinar should take 30 minutes to an hour. I want you to definitely get the knowledge that's out there as well as make a decision to move forward in the tax industry. So again, welcome. This is recorded. So in the future, I'll show you my website. It'll be on my website. It'll also be on my YouTube page if you need to go back. So we're going to get started. See if the chat is still open because I like to know my audience. So some people are able to get in the chat and some not. So I'm not going to let that stop us from moving forward. Check one more thing. Right, we got some people already asking questions. So we're gonna move on. So a little bit about RNS Financial Services. We've been in the industry for over 20 years, and we've experienced several different types of tax situations, from the basic, completing your 1040, from back in the day when we used to do 1040 EZ, one pagers, till now, fast forward, we've experienced doing taxes for dead people, which is called estate taxes. We've done audits with the IRS, more paper and phone audits. We never had to sit across from the IRS because we don't get that far, because whatever they're asking the client for, we're able to provide it. That's a part of due diligence. When you're doing your job and you make sure you have everything lined up, and when they ask for whatever paperwork they need, you can fax it to them, mail it to them, however. But we've never got, and I'm knock on wood, we've never got to the point where we actually had to represent a client face to face with the IRS. It's either been over the phone or they're requesting additional documents. So over the 20 years, I've experienced a lot of different things in the tax industry. So I have me and I have a team that is willing to help you and assist you in whatever, you may come across in the tax industry. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Why become a tax preparer? The requirements to become a tax preparer, the duties of a tax preparer, the pay structure. Everybody want to know about the pay. I could skip all that and just go to the pay and everybody will be good. But we have to know what we're doing and why we're doing it. So the pay structure of a tax preparer. Who wants to make $20,000 to $50,000 extra income per year. This is one of the main reasons why people become tax prepared. And now, since the industry is open to pretty much everyone, that extra income is definitely needed in these times, in this economy. So everyone wants to make extra money to increase their financial health, to increase the future of the next generation, as well as currently in their life. Everybody has bills to pay. Everybody, it may be medical bills, it may be it may be medical bills, it may be you might want to go on a trip. So for me, I pay bills. At the end of the tax season, I put a certain amount aside to go on a trip. This year I'm planning a cruise in May. So it depends on you and what is your why. Why do you want to become a tax preparer? Why do you want to assist people in the industry? Because basically what you are is a go-between between your client and the IRS. So you have to determine what's your why, and the sky is the limit. This is just a ballpark figure between 20 and 50. As a new tax preparer, you may, I would say, let's say reasonable 10,000. But if you're a go-getter and you know a lot of people and you're willing to learn, the sky is the limit. So professional tax preparer requirements. First thing you have to have is an open mind, because you have to be positive internally, because people will try to break you down because you've never done taxes. So you go to people and they like, no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't trust this and trust that. So there are millions and millions and millions of people in the world. And believe it or not, everyone has to do taxes unless don't make no money, but even if you're say you're just a student in school, you could do taxes and get credit for going to school. So a lot of people don't know that because they think, oh, I'm not working, but it doesn't matter. You could still get, it's like between $1,000 and $2,500 credit to be able to, go to school and get that credit. So you have to keep an open mind and be positive when no one else is positive about what you're doing. And that's just not in taxes, that's in life in general. So you have to have an open mind. That's the first requirement to work for RNS Financial Services, because we're going to go through bumps and we're going to go through challenges, and we have to be able to meet in the middle, even online, even virtually. Like today, this was a challenge, but I didn't give up because the technology or the system wasn't working right. I just kept pushing hey, let's figure it out. And that's what it's going to be in the tax world. You have to figure it out. You may have to do a little research. You may have to call your connects, your team, and get this done. You must be 18 years old. The reason why you have to be 18, because you have to qualify to do taxes through the IRS. So they want to make sure that you're an adult when you do taxes, because you're responsible for completing the tax returns. Got to be familiar with technology. Example, with this morning, well, not this morning, but with the webinar, some of the buttons wasn't working right. So we had to tweak it, but we were able to still push forward and do what we need to do. Clients, you need to have some clients. As we get new clients, we will share those clients with tax preparers that are working up under RNS Financial Services. But you also have to do your part too and recruit clients and put it out there that you are a tax preparer. Once you get your P10 and you get certified and then you start your processing. This is why we're starting now in November, preparing our tax preparers so that they'll be December, everybody know what they're doing. And January, which is when it really kicks off, like the middle of January. We have like 3 major dates when it comes to the tax preparing system. We have December, which is the kind of like pre-tax where people can get loans once they receive their W-2. And a lot of people that take advantage of that is the income, the earned income earners that have dependents, because their tax season really doesn't open until February. So you have the loans in December. In January, you had people that don't have dependents, that working people, single, they can start doing their taxes and get their return back by the end of January. Then February, you have the uh earned income tax credit that have dependents. And then after that, you usually have, stragglers, those that know they're gonna owe. So they kind of wait until April or March to, get their taxes done. We have the next requirement, is the paid tax preparer number. And that's what I was talking about that you get from the IRS. This year is only $19.75 to become a paid tax preparer. There's no training to get this number. You go through the IRS, they do a little background check, they ask you some due diligence questions, and then they issue the number. Most of the time they issue it to you on the spot. And then the training is through us and my partners. We do training on Mondays. I will do a personal training on November the 17th and the 18th. So we'll talk more about that. So the training, so open-minded, 18 years old, familiar with technology, get a P10 and training. Now, professional tax preparer duties. This is just kind of like a summary of what a tax preparer does, especially for a first-year tax preparer. Because for me, my duties go beyond this. My tax season never ends. I just finished doing someone's taxes, what are we in October? No, we're in November, September. I finished doing someone's taxes because they knew they owed. I had to do letters for them. I had to communicate, with the IRS on their behalf. So it depends on where you are at in the industry. But for most of you guys starting out, these are your duties. Filing current and past due federal and state tax returns. When you're filing the returns, for you guys, most of them are going to be current. So when it say past due, you can go back as far as 3-6 years to do taxes. And I have done that to catch people up to be current with their taxes. And some people have money that IRS held for them. But because they, were afraid, they made too much money, but they never sat down with a tax preparer to see where they were at. So once we sat down, we went back and did all their back returns, and they were able to get a refund. State returns, they depend on the state. For example, Georgia, they do a state return. So I've done returns in Georgia, Illinois, of course, throughout Florida, Minnesota, New York. New York is interesting. I'll just say that. So filing current and past due federal and state returns, communicating with the IRS and state tax authorities. Now, communication is both verbal and oral. I've done both. But at your level, it will more likely be more of a written thing, because when your client receives a letter for some reason, if they're looking for a documentation, you will be able to provide them with that documentation by doing your due diligence. So the state, again, it depends on, like Georgia, Alabama. I had to communicate with the tax authorities for a client in Alabama because they were behind on their business state taxes. So, yeah, it can get, when you're just starting out as a tax preparer, it'll be, mild, but as you go on and you learn more, then you'll do more. Counseling clients on income tax matters throughout the year. Some of you will be seasonal, where you work that January through April. Then you'll end up liking it, and you might end up being a year-round preparer. And that's what I like with, with H&R Block or, other companies, they are seasonal. So if you get a letter in April or May or June, even after that, you have to try to find someone to assist you. So you either, sending a letter, send an email to support, or being able to, communicate with someone. In our office, we're here 24/7. So when our clients get a letter, they can call me, they can send it to me, and I can go over it, and I know immediately like what we have to do. With IRS, time is of the essence. They give you a date, they expect you to adhere to that date. If you can't, just call them. Hey, I need more time. I'm doing this. I've been working. It's all about keeping the lines of communication open. Being familiar with technology. You have to have your laptop, or desktop, some type of computer technology. The software that we will provide is user-friendly. I've been in this industry for over 20 years, and what we use is TaxSlayer Pro. I've never used TaxSlayer. I've used TaxAct, TaxWise, Drake, what other ones? I actually even use the IRS. They have different softwares that you could use, but this software is, when I tell you that it's easier than slicing butter, it's but you are the professional. So you have to know where to put the figures, where to put the information. That's the familiarity part for you with the technology and the software. Being able to utilize your laptop, being able to maneuver, different things in the system. So that's the familiarity you need with technology and the software. Familiar with the tax laws. The tax laws, don't get scared, because the tax laws are very broad, especially like next year, because we got a new president. Every time you get a new president, tax laws change. One year they pushed back actually accepting the returns until like the end of January, because they still hadn't formulated the language for taxes. One year they accepted the returns, and then when the tax law changed, they went back, and people either had to pay or they got a bigger refund. So it all depends on the government, but being familiar with the basic tax laws is what our job is. And during our training, we go over that. Organizing tax records. Again, that goes back to the due diligence, the IRS audits. If your files are organized, when they send your client a letter, go to find your client's file. I'm old school, so I still have paper. So I'm moving into the virtual world, the cloud, having folders in the cloud and being able to rely on that. So still, the way you set your folders up physically is the way you need to set your folders up virtually. So for me, I make sure I have the last name, first name, and the year that they started doing taxes with me. That makes it easier for me when I go and purge out folders. So I try to do things that are easy for me, not just for today, but as well as for the future. But I will be teaching all of that as well in our tax class. The next thing, pay structure. Everybody want to know about the pay. Some people pay hourly. I believe our H&R Block pay hourly. So it's like $15 an hour. I mean, that's minimum for however many tax returns that you may do. For us, we pay by the tax return, which is better for you as a preparer, because you could decide on how much you want to make. So our pay structure this year is a 70-30 split. So what that is a 70-30 split, you get 70% because you're doing the majority of the work, and we get 30%. So RNS Financial get 30% because we have to maintain an office, we have to purchase software, the bigger package of software. We have to maintain our EFIN, our ERO status. We have to e-file the form, the taxes, and we have to do a overview. So when you doing a return, you're just plugging in, you're plug and play, filling in the information, which saves us time, but you cannot submit the return. And that's the good thing, because you have a safety net, you have a cushion, you have experience behind you, you have a team behind you. So once you finish the return, then it comes to us for review, and we review it before we submit it. But it's a seamless process. It's not like, days, because remember, this is tax season. So your client, when you tell your client to expect a return within 21 days, they're gonna be expecting it. And we just give that number, so that's the cushion with the IRS, 2 to 3 week turnaround. But most of my clients get their return 7 days, 10 days, depending on, what all they have on their return. So we have an example. Let's just say you have 50 clients, and those 50 clients, the average pays $600. And that $600 is mainly a earned income client that has dependents. So they'll get the average return for a person that I've done, let's say they have 3 kids, their income tax return is usually $7,000 to $12,000. So we charge, say, $600, unless they have other stuff. If they have a business, then you add on to that. If they have some clients I had to do a extension for, so I add that in. So it's other ways of getting income when you're doing a return. Most of you guys, if it's your first year, we're gonna stick with the basics and go from there. So imagine if you had 50 clients and each one of those clients paid $600. That $600 is broken up between you to prepare and me. It's called a service bureau or ERO. So I'm the owner. So the $30,000 that you would get for that year, just say you did, that's all you want to do, 50 clients for that year. So $30,000, you're gonna make $21,000 in 4 months. If you get all your clients in February, you're done for the year. A lot of people don't even make $20,000 a year if they're working at a restaurant part-time, if they're doing DoorDash or gig work. So imagine you're indoors, you're at the comfort of your home, and basically all you're using is your knowledge, your technology, and being able to help your clients, as well as being a voice for the IRS. So, and RNS Financial Services makes $9,000. I know it's a kind of, give and take, but with RNS Financial, we have the expense, we have the overhead. So with the 21,000, that's yours to do whatever you want, like we talked about before, to be able to create generational wealth, pay some bills, get out of debt. So every year, if you could get this extra income, just imagine where you would be. And I would say 2 years. The next thing is We pay out every 2 weeks. Once the tax returns are cleared through the IRS. So in the training, I'll go more into detail on the different steps, the different levels, as far as when I say cleared through the IRS. So basically, the IRS acknowledges the return, and that means that, oh, it's a good return, everything, it's all electronic. So it's like instantaneously, once you submit your return, within, I'll say, 2-3 minutes, the IRS, with the computer system, AI, whoever, say, this is a good return, now we're moving forward to the processing where they can get their refund. Or the system will say, stop. It shows that they had insurance through the marketplace, which we all know is Obamacare. So now you have to get the documentation, which is a 1095-A form, but you will learn this as time goes on. I can have a whole language with another tax preparer that had some experience, and nobody would know what we're talking about. So the 1095 is basically the medical form that you would have to fill out if you had insurance through the marketplace. Once you do that, then you'll resubmit, and then they'll check it again, and they'll say it's good, and it just move forward. And like I say, that usually it's instantaneously, but we'll go through in training, we'll go more in detail. Payments will be directly deposited into your bank account or paid on a debit card. And the reason why we do that, because it is too difficult to keep up with, someone else is doing the payroll, first of all. So it's too difficult to keep up with Cash App. I think Zelle has a payment program. We'll go more in detail, but I know direct deposit to your bank account or your debit card, because you don't want to wait on your money, just like I don't want to wait on mine. So once the return is cleared and accepted, boom, so you just have money dropping. Actually, I had, like I said, I do taxes all year. So just some money came up in my bank account that I really wasn't expecting, because once the tax season is over, I pretty much clean up my files and a few stragglers I may have, and then some of the banking products give me perks for having so many clients. So it's very, very important that your banking information is maintained, that your account is in good standing, because otherwise the money will go back to the software, the banking products, then they're gonna contact me, and it's easier. Remember what I said? It's easier to make things simple up front as opposed to trying to deal with the issues in the back. So that's the one thing. If you don't have a bank account, then just get a debit card that has banking abilities. So we'll talk about all that in training as well. So that's the pay structure. If you guys need to take a picture of it, we're going to talk about it in training as well. So professional tax preparer training. So the training is online. We also do a physical training. We'll talk about the online training first. So the online training usually costs $195. $195, which is nothing. One time we went out and ate, and it was like 5 of us, and we ended up spending like almost $200 just going to eat. And we had no financial benefit from that, but we were full. We were able to socialize with our friends, and that was it. And we supported another business owner. Right now, we're running our early bird price, which is $99.95. And the $99.95 gets all the information that we were talking about earlier. The time frame is Sunday, November the 17th, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then Monday, November the 18th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The reason why we did it over 2 days, because some adults, including me, I'm always moving. I guess I got adult ADHD or something because I'm always going. Anybody that know me is like, well, you sit down. When I'm asleep, my mind is working. So we decided to break it up into 2 days because on Sundays, people normally relaxing. So we did the 4 hours on Sundays, and we'll have breaks in between, and it'll be more of a dialogue. Right now, this is a webinar, it's informational, but during the training, you'll be able to ask questions. We'll have everybody have a video up. They'll be able to talk because you're going to have your software, and I want you to go through step by step. So when we're done with our training on the 18th at 8 p.m., you'll be ready to do a tax return. The early bird price, $99.95, is good for this week because again, training is on the 17th. We want to make sure, like on the 17th, you'll have your demos and we'll be able to go through everything. And then your software, your software login will come during that week. So for the 6 hours online training, you're going to learn about the 1040 forms, which is the basic tax reforms. You're not gonna do business because this will be some of you guys' first year. Once we do our one-on-one, which we'll start setting up times for one-on-one, where we actually talk on the phone and then I see where you're at in the tax industry. But everyone does the 1040 forms, and that basically covers the income that people get, which we'll go into more detail, whether it's a W-2 or 1099 or a K-1. Filing statuses, and that's basically saying whether you're single, married, head of household, filing married, filing joint or separate, and dependents. Dependents is basically anyone that you're taking care of, not just children. It could be your sisters, it could be your brothers, your aunts, your mom, your dad, cousins. If they're living in your household or you're financially supporting them, they're your dependents. It just depends on the age as far as how much credit you get for them. We also talk about the banking products. We're going to be using Republic banking products. So that you'll learn about that and how you fill out the forms for that, which everything is electronically. Your IRS P10, we'll go through step by step, assisting you in obtaining your P10 because it can be confusing. So the time it takes to get your P10 it takes to do the form, everything is online, between 30 minutes and an hour. So that's why we did the 6 hour window. Because I want to make sure that when you're done, you have everything that you need. I don't want to be back and forth and back and forth. We have a checklist that everyone that goes through training, make sure that you have this, so that you can be a professional tax preparer. I don't want you to just be a tax preparer, fly by night, here today, gone tomorrow. I want you to make it's a career, but to make a adjustment in a different world to be able to benefit you in the future. We're going to go over the tax laws, which we talked a little bit about, ethics, due diligence. So all of those things are very important as a tax preparer, to know that people can trust you with their personal information, because you have people's social security number, you have their birthdays. So that's the reason why the IRS created the P10. So if something happens, all that person has to do is call the IRS and they can look it up on their system. Oh, this P10 is registered to Samantha Person. Samantha Person works for RNS Financial Services. This is her EFIN. So, it's technology, it's the government. So I like to make sure that the people that are working with me are prepared so that none of that happens. So the tax laws, ethics, due diligence, and the tax software is also included in that $99.95. So when you're going, some places charge $500 or whatever for their software, but because this the first year, and what we call it is tier one. So we provide training for the software. I also give you some resources that you could train on your own, because our training it's like on Mondays. Of course, I'll be doing personal training, and then the company, they'll do training. So you have a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips. Because I want to make sure that you are the best tax preparer and that you are prepared to do a quality, good return. So again, $99.95 is to benefit you in your future. Remember, you could do one tax return. Let's just say you do a senior. So for my seniors, I usually charge for seniors and students, I give them a discount. So I usually charge them between $250 and $300. But if you did just two of them, you already got your money back with the 70-30 split. So to me, it's a no-brainer for you to invest in your future so that you can make money either 4 months or 1 month if you're a go-getter, or throughout the year. So these are some of the benefits of becoming a tax preparer. Again, you can make up to $50,000 in 4 months. So you got January, February, March, April. So you can benefit by getting your training, purchasing your online course. If you're local in the Orlando area, we do a physical course as well. And the physical course is $295 because it's more included. It's more time. That course is for 8 hours, and that's hands-on, where you have your actual 1040 form that you're working through, and we're working through the due diligence. So it's more in depth. You're getting what you need to be a tax preparer online. But if you're ready to go to the next step, then that's where, and in the physical class, we touch on business taxes, Schedule C, talk a little bit about that. So make up to 50,000 in 4 months, flexible schedule. That's what is, to me, that's what life's about. I'm trying to move all my businesses to be systemized, where I could take my laptop and I can go do whatever I need to do wherever I want to do it at. I don't have to report to a physical location. Like I say, we do have a physical location here, but we're moving towards everything being virtual. Flexible schedule. I don't tell you when to do a tax return. I don't tell you when to work, because you're an independent contractor. Independent contractor, you receive a 1099 for me, where you could use the income that you made to file your business taxes, or have us file your business taxes. So you set your schedule. If you want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, because some of your clients have sent you documentation, you get up, do some tax returns, go to your regular job. Or if you want to do it after you get off work, or in the middle of the night, you got 24 hours in a day. You could pick a window and just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to do 2 tax returns today. And they $600 tax returns. So you get what I'm saying? Your schedule is flexible. I don't want anyone to think that, oh, they can quit their regular job after the first year. Maybe after a couple of years, and you built up your savings, and that took care of a lot of stuff, you might be able to do this full time. There's no experience needed. You saw what the requirements were. 18 years old, familiar with technology. In this day and age, everybody is familiar with how to, hit the keyboards, turn on the computer. And if you not, we can work through that. Tax laws, you can look online. IRS has the whole website, and you can just type in what you want to know, and it'll bring it up. So you don't have to keep it here. because it's in the computer. Your main job is being able to recognize what form someone give you and where it goes at on the 1040, where that information transfers to on the 1040. And our software is very, very user friendly and will be able to help you, navigate through transferring a W-2 information to the tax return. Online training. Like I say, we do have a physical training for people that want to come in and go a little further, but the training is going to be online, November 17th and 18th. You don't have to go anywhere. You could be in the comfort of your home, sitting on your back porch and learning a new skill. This is a skill, whether you do taxes or not, it's a skill that is definitely needed. So when someone is doing your taxes, you'll be able to look at it and make sure that they're doing it right. Because you might not want to do it right away, but it's a skill that's worth learning. I learned at 16. One of my best friends, she used to do taxes. So she taught me at 16. Back then, you ain't need, to be 18, you ain't need to have a P10 and, all the stuff that they're requiring today. So when she taught me, the next year at 17, I was doing my taxes as well as my family taxes. And I was getting paid just cash, a little bit because I was still living home with my mom. But I found a lacking to it and I never stopped. So fast forward to today, now I'm a actual tax business. I have my P10, I have ERO, I am an ERO, I have my EFIN, which is another level with the IRS. So it depends on you. Some people do it and just for their personal gain. A lot of people do it to make money. Most people do it to make money. The other benefit is you work from home. You can work from home, or you can work from the park if you got the hotspot. Because the connection and the network privacy is with us, RNS Financial. So you're not going to be able to submit a return. So as long as you are able to get internet access, then you will be able to do a return. It's the small investment. The last thing is it's a small investment. Oh, sorry. So it's a small investment in your future. The investment, like I say, the $99.95, and with tax and it might be, I think it comes to maybe like $130. That's with tax and the processing fee. But again, you can spend $130 on some perfume or on a purse or shoes or an event. So take that $130 and invest it in your future. Invest it in becoming a professional tax preparer, where you could try it and do 1 or 2 returns and you'll get a return on your investment. Or you can make a career out of it. Every tax season, you making $20,000 to $50,000 from that one investment. I mean, I can't say what it's worth to you or the next person, but for me, it's well worth it because I have to pay for my software, I pay for training, I pay for organizations because I want to keep my knowledge fresh. I go to IRS seminars because I like to go. Imagine this, you invest your $130. And this happened to me for real. IRS did a seminar in Vegas. I live in Florida, but because they didn't, at that time, they didn't have any in Florida or I had to work or whatever the case, they did a seminar in Vegas. Oh yeah, I'm going to the IRS seminar. So I was able to write off my plane tickets because I'm going for work because I'm a tax preparer. I wrote off my plane tickets. I wrote off my hotel, which I got a hotel in the where the seminar was at because they did a group rate because it's thousands of tax preparer. So the rate was very good. I got to write off my food because I had to eat while I was there. And you get to write off entertainment. So guess what? While I was there, Steve Harvey was there with the Hoodie Awards. So I purchased Hoodie Award tickets because they know you can't just be there and work and not. So they give you a certain amount, entertainment. So we went to the Hoodie Awards. So I got my tax knowledge. I got to go to Vegas. I got to stay in a nice hotel. I think it might have been Caesar's Palace, but it was a nice hotel, the government IRS. And I got to go to the Hoodie Awards. And that was for me and my husband because they give you a certain amount, as far as the food and, write-offs. So that's a great benefit. A small investment. And you could take it whichever way you want to go. I've taken it, of course, like I said, I've been doing it for 20 years. So I do regular 1040 returns. I do Schedule Cs, that's for basic businesses. I do 1120s, that's for corporations. Now that's a whole nother beast by itself. 1065s, that's for businesses that are partnerships. And then you have to break it down. Estate taxes, that's for people that have passed on, but the loved ones, because the parents or whoever did set up the will or set up a trust, set up these things appropriately when they were alive. Now the person that's over the trust have to do taxes on those assets. So I do that. I do a lot of different taxes throughout the year. So that small investment is definitely worth it. So here's the information to register for our tax training. You can contact RNS Financial Services. Our office phone number is 407-802-2307. You go to our website, mytaxlady.org. And this is what our website looks like. Oh. So this is what our website looks like. When you go to mytaxlady.org, so you'll come to the home page. Make sure you put your email in there and subscribe so that you can get notifications. And for you guys, you click on online tax training class. And this is the online class. And this is everything that you would get. These are the hours, November the 17th, which is Sunday, 2 p.m. to 6, and then Monday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is, of course, the phone number and the email. As I said before, the regular price, $195. Early bird is $99.95. And that's going to be until November the 15th because we have to get things prepared for the people that's going to be in the class. Then we do have our physical class. And this is hands-on training. And this is an 8-hour block. And it gets everything that the online class get, plus you get the business part of it. And this class is going to be held at our Orlando Business Center, which is 4071 L.B. McLeod Road. We're going to do updates because the date for this one is actually going to be December the 8th. December the 8th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And again, like I said, it's $295, but it's $245 for that one. And we'll have a new deadline for that in December. So check out our website. We have old training listed if you want to, kind of get an idea of the tax industry. And then we have the different tax services that we provide and the prices that they cost. So you can kind of see like where you would be financially for the tax industry. And that's pretty much it, guys, for our orientation. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for allowing us to share this new knowledge with some and a review for others. Again, reach out to us in either one of those formats. And we look forward to seeing you guys on November the 17th for the beginning of a new career.